Good afternoon and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn here again with you for another 15 minutes of gardening tips and lots of ideas. Hope you're keeping well and hope your garden is looking good. If not, we've got just the person who can help you out. It's our gardening expert Trish. Now, let's go find her. So here we are in Boyles of Killorglin for another gardening show with our expert Trish. How are you doing, Trish?
I'm very good, thank you, Alan.
Did you have a good bank holiday weekend?
I had a lovely bank holiday, yes.
Great.
The weather was fabulous.
It was lovely and dry, wasn't it? It was nice,
and
it's been a nice week.
Yes, yeah, the weather has been absolutely fantastic, and it shows there's loads and loads of people coming into the garden centre buying plants of every kind, so everybody seems to be out and about.
Stock is flying in and out the door.
Flying in, yeah, there's loads of deliveries coming and something new every week, so if you've been here last week, call again this week because there's always something new.
There's always something new. Great. Okay, so we've got a real mixed bag for the garden today. We've got lots of stuff to talk about, some lovely colour here. We're going to start with more of the leafy types here, which are mainly suitable for seaside houses and stuff like that. Because we are along the coast, and there's a lot of houses and a lot of people who like their gardens, and they're looking for options. So
exactly, it's very important when you're living in a seaside area to get the right plants, because we do get a lot of people coming in here saying, "Oh, we went to a garden centre and we just picked a plant, and sure it was dead the first year." So you just have to remember that it's actually the salt spray that will burn the plants. So there is particular plants, whether it's the furry leaf or the leathery leaf, they will tolerate and they will block the salt from getting in and stop it from scorching. So if you're doing up a shrub bed, a lot of people, this time of the year, they're always concentrating on summer flowers, but they'll only last for the summer. It's great to have them as a blast colour for the summer, but you need to, in beds, have something evergreen then as well, or shrubs that will come from year to year. Again, now we have a couple of different ones beside you. Apart from just even going with green plants all the time, it's nice to bring in a bit of colour, whether it's the purple leaf or the gold leaf.
And here we've got gold brine is what it's called.
Gold brine, and it's
Scalonia?
Escaloni. Now a lot of people will know the Escalonia out in seaside areas as a hedge, but this one is a shrub form, and you can see it now, it's kind of a limey green. And
that's obviously the new growth.
That's the new growth, but it gets yellower than that again, lovely golden yellow. The new shoots to come up on it. And then if you can imagine then the pink flower with it, it's absolutely stunning.
Stunning, yeah. You can see it here in the picture actually. It does.
Yeah, and that flowers then for the majority of the summer as well. And it's a good evergreen plant then as well, meaning it keeps onto its leaf all year round. Height-wise, I suppose it can go to 4 to 5 feet high.
Yeah, you were saying a lot of people use it as hedging, so 4 to 5 feet.
4 to 5 feet, or you can grow it as a shrub independently on its own as well.
Okay.
But it's great, it's a fantastic shrub to grow.
Yeah. Now, this next one here is, it's called the Gold Flame, and again, it's got a lovely bit of colour. Is it kind of small berries it kind of comes out in, or what is it?
No, that's actually the new shoots. It's little flowers. It's a tiny little pink flower, but it's in a cluster together.
Okay.
So again, now the shoots on that, when the new growth comes on it, you can just barely see it there. It has the lovely copper tinges on it. Yeah, really, so they're coming on nice, and the leaf itself has a little bit of green going through it, as well as the yellow. Again, a nice bright shrub, and it's extremely hardy. It can grow to about 4 to 5 feet high, and it's spread-wise then about 1 metre in width. But as I say, even if you're not in the seaside area and you're very exposed, the spirea is actually very, very hardy.
And when you say exposed, you mean people who might kind of get a lot of wind,
exactly,
and stuff like that. They could be up kind of at a height,
could be at a height
anywhere,
or somewhere
anywhere
like that.
Across the country.
Or whatever way the breeze is blowing, that there's an awful wind. That one actually would be quite hardy. Now that does lose its leaf in the winter time.
Okay.
But you don't have to do anything with it. It'll leaf again in the spring and it'll come on then again.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what have you got over there yourself?
Oh, this one then. I love this one because it's great for flowering. It's a Hypericum, or people might know it as the St. John's wort. Okay. Now, if you had a shady area, the Hypericums are great, because even the last one now we were speaking about, spirea, that does in a sunny area. So there's always sunny areas and there's always shady spots.
Okay.
So this will do in a light shady area, and it's got a yellow flower from July up until October. Grows to about 1 metre in height and 1 metre in width. Can be grown inland, but it's very good for seaside area then as well. There's no problem, and very, very hardy. A lot of people grow these and then maybe have the hydrangeas with them as well that would flower at the same time, or if you've got azaleas or rhododendrons that flower April, May, this is a good continuation then of flower in that bed to come on then as well.
Okay, yeah, and they've got a lovely green leaf.
A lovely green leaf and the shoots on it, and it's actually vigorous growing as well. I don't mean that it'll take over, but it's just, you look at that plant now and you're thinking, how long will I be waiting for it to grow to the metre? I'd say 2 years maximum.
Okay, so it is quite fast.
And it'll be fine and it'll be fast, and there's no problem cutting it back if you want it, but it only grows a metre in height.
And I think, as you said, the shady area is always a good thing, because it's always important to try and fill those areas in your garden as well.
Because as I was saying before, when you're planting a shrub bed, you do have to keep in mind your sunny areas, your shady areas, your soil types. These will grow in any type of soil. They don't require the ericaceous or anything like that.
Okay,
so any type of soil will do in that, as long as it's not too wet.
And this time of the year is a good time to put them down?
You can, because the growth is, it's obviously starting now at the moment, or has started. So if you're taking something out of a pot, the roots will get in quite quickly into the ground. They'll be well rooted then before the next winter comes, so there'll be no fear of it then in windy conditions or anything like that.
Very good. Now, you were talking about height, so let's move on to some climbers that we have here as well too. And I think a lot of people will be very, very familiar with this fella here, who is probably climbing on many a wall in Kerry, has he?
Yeah. Now the thing is, again, that's your shrub beds. If you've got ugly walls, or you've got oil tanks or bins to hide, anything like that, now this particular one is self-clinging, which means that if you put that up against the wall, it'll cling to the wall itself. It produces little roots at the back of it. So you don't need trellis work or anything for that. It's just a matter of starting it off at the start. Now when you're planting that, so say for example your wall is there, and you take it out of the pot and you'd actually lean it up against the wall.
So give it a little nudge.
Yeah, so even some of it might be growing on the ground a little bit, which is better because it roots better into the soil, and it'll go up the wall, and that'll root quite easily. And
sun or shade,
either or. Yeah, not dense shade now, light shade for ivy, for the variegated. But that is evergreen then as well, meaning it keeps its leaf all year round. So, if it's doing a wall, at least it's there all the time, and it's nice and bright then as well.
And that's gold child is what it's called.
Gold
it's got a
lovely
variegated leaf with a beautiful gold tinger on the end.
And this one is absolutely fantastic. It's the potato plant, or the proper name for it is Solanum. Brilliant for climbing, quite vigorous growing now, so you have to remember it will grow to about 15 to 20 feet high.
Oh, right,
and it'll spread out. Now if you have a wall, it will come out about 2 feet from the wall as well. So sometimes if you've got a wall and you don't have enough space, just to keep that in mind, the ivy might be better then, because it'll be flat against the wall. But this is a fantastic one for flowering. It also comes in white as well. And the one we're looking at here is kind of a lilac-y purple flower with a yellow centre on it. But very vigorous growing. It'll cover a wall or an old ugly shed or the oil tank or whatever you want to cover in no time.
But really, I think space is the big thing to take into account for that
one.
But
the only thing with that, it takes a good cutting back as well. So say, for example, it does grow, the branches are coming way out, you can cut them back, no problem, and that'll bush it up against the wall then and keep it tight as well. But they are fantastic. Now, they do like the sunshine, the ivies, or the solanums.
The solanums,
so they'd be fine.
Okay, so another beautiful thing actually, and you've got one in your hand, is if anyone wants to add a little bit of fragrance to their garden.
Very important.
So you're loving that one as well over there, aren't you?
Lavender.
It's the lavender.
It's one of my favourites now. It's absolutely fabulous. You just rub against the foliage and the smell up off it is fab. And it's got a lovely blue flower as well. So as we were saying before, if you're sitting down beside your patio, if your bed's near your door or something like that, the lavender is a great one to plant. It can be planted into a pot, or it can be planted directly into the ground. Now, if you are planting into the ground, make sure to have it well drained. So add in a bit of grit or a bit of stone. Don't put it in a very heavy soil. If it's even in a pot, don't overwater it. A lot of people kill it by overwatering it in the pot. It likes to be on the dry side rather than the moist side.
Yeah. Do you know what that actually happened to one that I had before, and I suppose I left it out during a kind of a rainy spell, and it was in a pot, and I just don't think it recovered after it. It just got...
and again, now that you say that, Alan, it's very important to make sure a hole is in the bottom of it. Put stones or grit in the base of it as well, and try and lift the pot up off the ground. Because as you say, when it's lashing rain, the water's just staying in it. There's nowhere for it to go. So if you lift it up off the ground, the water will drain out of it, and that'll solve that.
Now, I love this little one here down the front. It is so pretty. It's got a beautiful, just dainty white flowers at the top of it, and it's the Nemisia.
Nemisia. Now, the scent of that. Last week when we had the lovely warm weather here, and we had them up there at the front door, and everyone that came in, the first thing they said, what's the smell? What's the smell? And it is that. Now, it would be a bit more on the tender side, so I wouldn't put it in the very exposed place. If you had a nice warm sheltered area up against the wall, again now around your patio, because of the fragrance, and it comes in a lovely different colour here as well.
Oh, that's so pretty,
they're very, very pretty. Again, what I would do that if I was planting it in a pot, I'd have that as the centrepiece, and maybe put some trailing petunias or biddens or something, or bacopa around it that will trail down. We will be doing bedding plants in the next couple of weeks and planting up pots, but they are fabulous, like, for a bit of scent.
And a bit of Wexford colours there now, the purple, purple and gold.
And yellow.
Absolutely beautiful.
Another ones then, these are just fabulous. The slipper plant.
I don't remember seeing this last year. This is a new one for me, and
it's lovely, and they're
stunning.
Yellow
Two
as
colours.
well. They are, and they come every year then as well. What happens is they die away down in the winter, come back up again. But anybody's looking on Facebook, you'll see the amount of buds on the size of the plant that I have in front of me.
Do you know what? It looks, even the flower, it looks very tropical.
Yes.
You know, because it's so unusual. It's like a little pouch.
It's like a little pouch, and even when you press it, it's like it's vacant in the middle of it. So it is absolutely very, very pretty.
So the one you have in your hand there it's an orange.
It's an orange. The right name of it is Calcillaria. And it's an orange. We have it in the yellow, and I also have a red and yellow down below as well. So there's 3 different varieties. Again, now it likes the well drained, don't have it in too wet of an area, and it'll perform lovely then after that.
Yeah, that is. And you were saying the leaves are kind of a little bit furry and tough. Would that be hardy enough?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't put that out beside the seaside now,
Yeah.
because the top part is just a little bit too delicate.
Yeah.
So I'd put it near the house or some sheltered area, and they'll perform lovely then for the summer then as well.
Would you get a few months out of it?
You will. You get a few months of it, and as I say, they come back next year, so you can't lose really. Do you know?
Okay, beautiful. Now I got a little yellow one over here now as well too, and this is now the name is Sunrose, but you're going to tell me how to pronounce that.
Lilium.
But this is a lovely little one as well too, isn't it?
It's a nice small little shrub. Now it's actually an evergreen shrub then as well, and it flowers this time of the year, but as you can see there is loads of buds. When it's in full flower, you'll actually hardly see the leaf at all, because
really?
it's just
a cover in
yellow.
A carpet of yellow, and as Trish said, there's so many buds. It's beautiful.
And like that, it's excellent beside the sea as well, and it's a low growing plant, so it only grows to about 2 feet high by about 2 feet of a spread. Very, very hardy, and a sunny place for that then as well.
Sunny place,
yeah.
All right. Now, I'll give you this one.
Okay.
This is a lovely one.
This is
not something to have on a summer's evening, maybe.
No. I know the name of it. I said the common name is a tea tree plant, and then Alan read it and he says, I see martini.
Martini.
I said, no, nothing got to do
Shaken,
with the
not
martini
stirred.
that we have. But again, now this is a fabulous and very, very pretty and very, very hardy plant as well. Now the only thing with this, it does require the peaty soil, the ericaceous soil.
Okay.
So it's the same as for your rhododendrons and your azaleas. It can grow to about 4 feet high by about 4 feet wide. Very pretty little kind of pale pink flower on it, and the foliage then, you can even see the stem of it is a little bit purple, and the foliage is kind of a greeny purple tinge on it as well.
Again,
they are beautiful. Loads of buds. It's like the linium. Once that comes in flower, it just covers the whole lot of it.
Wow.
So they are absolutely, like this time of the year, a lot of people, as I was saying, they just come in and think, oh, it's only all summer bedding. We have fabulous flowering shrubs then as well, in stock at the moment as well. So it's just a matter, as I always say, come in, have a look, even if you're not ready, take pictures, take the name, see what's in flower at the moment. See, a lot of people have seen what's in flower earlier, and you'll see what's in flower later, so that you have a continuous flowering in your garden.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
So they're beautiful. And also as well, now that we're talking flower,
yes,
I'm sure everybody would have seen the pink flowering cherry tree.
Cherry blossoms,
But I'm going with something different. I've got a lovely white one here. It's exactly like the pink, but it's just a big double white flower, and it is just as fabulous as the pink one. So the one we have is Prunus avium plena, and I've also got a weeping one as well. So if somebody's got a smaller garden, the weeping ones are ideal then as well.
Okay, good.
But they're absolutely fabulous. And again, the autumn time, they have a beautiful red leaf on it then as well.
Okay.
But they're definitely the tree of the week.
Of the moment, yeah,
of
absolutely.
The moment.
No,
they're
you just see them everywhere.
They're absolutely everywhere.
And how are they to plant? Are they?
Yeah, once they're actually in a pot at the moment, so
Yeah.
they're quite happy. You can plant them, just take them out of the plastic or the pot or whatever, dig a nice big hole, put a bit of compost, maybe a bit of chicken manure, get a stake then as well, and your tree tie. We have it all here anyway, we can advise you on what to get, but there's no problem planting them. Now the only thing is, I suppose, with the shrubs and with the trees, if you are planting them this year, or at the moment, if we do get a scalder of a summer, make sure to keep them watered. Just for the first season. You don't have to be watering them every year.
Okay.
Just for the first season until the roots get into the ground.
Yeah, because I remember we used to say that you'd always try and make sure you plant trees or transfer them with when there's an hour in the month.
Yeah, that's usually if they're bare rooted. If you're digging up a tree or they're bare rooted, but all pots can be planted any time of the year.
Oh, great.
Yeah, all
great.
pots
Okay,
can be
so
planted any time of the year.
There. Excellent. Right, fantastic. Well, that pretty much brings our show to a wrap. But before we do, we've got a little bit of weed control, which obviously, if you are setting a bed up, this could be perfect to maybe keep some weeds down.
Yeah, if you're planting your shrubs or anything like that, I mean, a lot of people just don't have time to be going out weeding in the garden anymore. So if you're putting down a new bed or whatever, you can actually put the landscape fabric, which you've got in your hand there, down. What that does then, it stops the weeds from coming up, but it also leaves the water down, which is very important. Actually, there was a lady here this morning and she was saying, I have plastic at home.
Oh, no.
And then she realised that when she said it out loud, and she goes, that won't do at all. No, so just be very careful if you are putting down
something that's going to absorb the water and
exactly,
it
leaves it's permanent, but it leaves the water down, and that'll stop. And you just cover it over then either with a bark mulch or a stone mulch, which we have here as well.
Excellent,
yeah.
Brilliant. Right, so that definitely is a wrap for this week's Kerry Garden Show. Thanks again to Trish, and thank you for listening and watching here on Radio Kerry and also on Facebook and our YouTube channel. That's it. Until next time, for myself, Trish and Dave and everyone here at Boyles of Killorglin, we'll talk to you next week. Happy gardening.